What's up, everybody? This video is going to be just a little bit different. We have to do a little bit of a voiceover for this because I recorded this whole episode and realized once I finished recording and was about to post it that the audio was terrible. It was super echoey. It wasn't. It was very staticky. I think like the headset that I was using wasn't plugged in correctly. But I didn't really want to lose this whole hour-long playthrough because we made some progress, and it was really interesting to see. So we're just going to do a little voiceover here. We're going to kind of talk about what's happening in the game. Another thing I want to talk about during this is just go over kind of my year in review of games. We'll talk about some of the games that I played, my thoughts on them. Not necessarily all games that came out this year, but kind of big ones that I enjoyed, good or bad. But yeah, so as you can see, we are handling this boss pretty well. It did take me quite a few tries. I think part of the reason that I lost this audio is because I kept I kept recording and editing and cutting it because I was losing so many times to this guy. So between the end of the last video and this fight, it was probably about 20 other fights that I had just kept cutting, was getting frustrated with. So I was like, okay. That being said, this is the first time I saw his second phase. Because I was like, just kept getting smacked by that first version of him, and it was just insane. So I was like, okay, let's hope that this just doesn't take another 20 tries. But yeah, this guy was a big, nasty, one of the biggest, hardest first like bosses in a game that I've played in a while. We had a couple of mini bosses that we fought earlier and weren't as tough. I mean, they gave me some problems, but they weren't as bad. Um, no, this guy was just an absolute chaotic pain. Um, so yeah, so this video is coming out, and it's going to be the end of the year. So I'll start off with some of the games that I played earlier in the year, starting with Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. That was one of the first big games that I played this year. I really enjoyed that. That's one of those games that's so crazy. It has like a ton of different side missions. There's different ways to like play. You can spend like hours alone just like wasting time playing side missions, whether it's like your bike riding obstacle courses or there was like a whole like Pokemon game where you would collect homeless like homeless bums and kind of make them fight against each other. I remember there was like a Pokemon Snap style game where you'd have to take pictures of like dudes in like little to no clothing. It's such a weird game, but amidst all that crazy side quest and insane like stuff that they put on top of it is like a really in depth, heartfelt story about this guy who's looking for his family. He ends up traveling. He's from Japan. He ends up traveling to Hawaii because he hears word that his mother might be out there. And then all sorts of shenanigans ensue once he finally gets out there, and it's crazy. It's wild. But Danny Trejo is plays one of the main protagonists. I mean, one of the main antagonists in the game, and that's hilarious. It was cool to see him. I'm excited they're coming out with another one, I believe, early next year, and it's something to do with pirates. And I'm a big wrestling fan, and Samoa Joe is in the trailer, um, and he's one of my favorites, and that's going to be really fun because I think he's going to play some sort of role in that. Whether it's a good guy or a bad guy, I don't know. But yeah, so that was like the first real big game that I got. Oh, another big part of that was in that game, Infinite Wealth, Infinite Wealth like a Dragon. Is there's this whole side quest. It's where you go to the separate island, and it's pretty much like Animal Crossing, where you have to like make the island nice. You get people to come visit. It's like a tourist attraction where people want to stay at this hotel, and you get like different activities for them. But like your job is to like go around the island, clean up the trash, build new places for them to visit, set up the layout, build roads. It's wild how much different styles of gameplay they put into those like a Dragon or Yakuza games. I didn't get into them until a couple years ago. I think the first one I played was Yakuza Zero, which I think came out in like 2018 or 2019. And I'm terrible with years, so it probably could have came out a lot earlier than that. But it was like a prequel. I played that one, and then I played um, Yakuza. What was the last? I played Yakuza Like a Dragon, and then I played Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. They changed the name, um, like the way they do the names, because I guess in Japan they're all called Like a Dragon because they can't use like the Yakuza name on them. But over here they call them Yakuza games, and then with like the last couple, they had a game called Yakuza Like a Dragon, and then from there it started taking following a different protagonist. So they just started changing the name of the games to Like a Dragon with like a colon subtitle after that. Like this one was called Like a Dragon colon Infinite Wealth. The next one is like a Dragon something about pirates. I can't remember, but that was an awesome game. Um, what other games did I play this year? Dragon's Dogma 2 was one that I was really looking forward to. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at games, especially ones that tend to be harder. I tend to like lose focus on those kind of games. I'll play them for a while, get pretty far into them, and then just kind of lose focus if there's not something to distract me. And that game was great. I really liked the story in it, and it was fun, but it was hard, and I just couldn't stick with it. I think I put it about 20 to 25 hours into that game, and really liked where it was going. And then unfortunately in that game something crazy happened. I had some kind of I guess in the game there was some I guess it's a spoiler, so spoiler alert. Skip forward like I don't know a minute if you don't want to hear about this. But in the game there is something called like the dragon virus, and you can get it by you hire like assistants throughout the game, and they come from other worlds or whatever, and if in that world they had done something, there's a chance that they are infected with this dragon's plague. And if you bring them into your world, it kind of spreads very fast and can kill everybody very quickly. So that happened to me. I got disgruntled, didn't want to start over, and didn't really want to continue playing with that, so I just moved on. But yeah. So back to this gameplay. We're talking to this guy Kuafu. He had put up that centaur for a big long, like a big what am I trying to say? Like a guard to kind of keep him safe, like as a distraction, so that nobody would find him. Um, you end up taking him out. You find him. You're kind of not happy with him, so he owes you a favor. You end up teaming with him. He ends up giving you his soul seal, which is one of the things that you need to kind of get your to complete your quest. You're gonna need all of them. So you get them from these guys. This is like a cool flashback that they do. I really like the way they do the art in this game and like the storytelling. There's like different ways of doing it. Sometimes they'll do like just cutscenes. Sometimes they'll do like a comic book flash. And then there's other times where they'll do these little like memories where you're just kind of walking through these little glimpses of the past and seeing what happened. There was also another one earlier where you're doing just a full like in-game scene where you are talking to your sister on her way to school, and she's asking you some questions and talking about how much she admires you and stuff. It's just the different ways they do the storytelling is really cool. Um, I think it's just another way to immerse you into it because you never know what you're getting. Sometimes like you're seeing things that you have to read. Sometimes it's like more played out. it's a really cool way of doing storytelling in games, and I really enjoy seeing all the different ways that they are doing it in this game. But what else do we have? So another game I played this year was one that had ended up winning, I think, the Game of the Year at the Game Awards. Was Astrobot. That was a super fun platformer. Those are the games I tend to like enjoy the most. Is like platforming games, single player games, games that you can kind of just go and explore and have fun and relax. And man, that one was something special. It definitely took a lot of inspiration from a lot of the Mario games, and they even mentioned that during their acceptance speech at the Game Awards. But that game was so cool. It was an homage to like the history of PlayStation. You were constantly seeing these little bots that you collected. All of them were from like different PlayStation games throughout the year. You had ones from like uh, what did you have? You had some of Yakuza ones in there. You had Oddworld. You had Crash Bandicoot. You had Jack and Daxter. Like any game that you could think of that ever had ties to PlayStation was in there. And the levels were so creative and fun. Like it felt like every level had a different gimmick, and they all had like really cool power ups. There was like these frog gloves that you got on that you could like punch with. There was these like monkey paws that you could climb with. There was this backpack that had like a bulldog on it that would cause like this dash ability. And then the layout of the game was like I think there was 5 different universes that you could go to. And at the end of each universe, or actually in each universe, you could find these hidden levels, which were like the shapes of the buttons on a PlayStation controller. Like there was the square world, or the triangle world, or the circle world, or the cross world, and all of those were like speed runny, like obstacle course levels. Like in it was they were just fun. They were high intensity, like short dashes all the way to the end, but like nonstop fluid motion, and you would those were the kind of levels that you would try over and over and over, and like if you died it would start you right back at the beginning, and it would jump you right to the end. Jump you right back if you died, and you would just keep making progress until you beat it. It was really fun. Another cool thing about that game is at the end of every galaxy, if you did everything, there was different themed worlds. Like I remember the first one that you beat was like you encounter Ape Escape, and you go to his world, and the way that you play that level is you have to go and collect the monkeys or the apes that are loose around the world. So it completely changed the play style of it. There were some really cool ones like that. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but I remember there was that one. I remember there was like a Horizon Zero Dawn one where you had like a bow and arrow. There was a Loco Roco one, which was really fun. If you've never played that game, that was a really cool surprise, like one that popped up. Uh, what other themed worlds were there? I can't quite remember, but that whole game was a blast. It was great music, great visuals. One of my favorite levels in that game was this level where you started out at regular size, but you could shrink down, and you'd have to like go throughout. You could go anywhere throughout the level, either regular size or shrunk down. That was really cool. And there was different obstacles in that, and like lots of little hidden collectibles and weird stuff that you'd have to go and find. Um, but that was just an awesome, fun game. That was maybe my favorite game of the year that I've ever played. Um, there's a couple other close seconds that I would put up there, but that was definitely something that I played a lot of. That's the only PlayStation game I've ever platinumed. Um, I've completed other games, but never any that I've platinumed and gotten every trophy that was possible. And it was easy and fun to do that. It never felt like a grind, and it was just every time you did something, it felt worthwhile and just all around enjoyable. Um, so yeah, and just back to the game, we're doing some exploring. I think we had just found. Um, oh, we were trying to figure out how to get back to the pavilion to talk to Shan and to talk to Kawafu, who we got just let go back to our pavilion to do some upgrading there. But we were checking the map to kind of make sure that we did everything thoroughly and we're on top of stuff. Mm, What other games did I play this year? Sorry, I'm just doing this off the top of my head because I want to get this audio over this game because I just I was so sad when I went to go upload this footage and the audio was all messed up and I was like, oh, there's no way. I didn't have a second save file. I'm still new to like the way I'm doing the recording and everything. I guess it would be smart to like do two save files in case I lose progress of one of them. I can just go back and re-record. Um, any tricks or tips that people have? I'm still super new to this. I'm still learning, teaching myself everything I can. So any advice would be great. I'm always open to learning, um, and also different ways of doing things. Like if the voiceover that I'm doing now seems to be working better, or if you guys want to see different games at all, um, just any feedback at all is pretty cool. Haven't built up the courage yet to really like advertise this channel. I have a Facebook channel, I have a Twitch stream that I've been posting on, but I haven't really been like pushing out notifications or anything. I've just been quietly posting videos where I can and kind of streaming when I can, but not really advertising it. I've had like two or three people pop in, nothing crazy, and yeah, just overall doing this for me. No other reason. Just want to put myself out there, build up my courage, see what's going on, and yeah. So we'll go back to talking about other games that I played this year. Jumping onto the Nintendo side of things, I played the Zelda Echoes of Wisdom game. That was a lot of fun. It was definitely Zelda is one of my favorite franchises. I've been a fan of that since I was a little kid. I've played all of the Zeldas. I haven't beat all of them. The two that I didn't really love were Skyward Sword and for some reason Twilight Princess. I just never got super into that. I got about halfway through it and a couple times and never really beat it. My favorite of all time is Wind Waker. Um, that was that was just at a cool time in my life when I was starting to like really meet a lot of my longtime friends and everything like that. And that game definitely like had a big impact on me. And it was so different than the other ones. It had like I know everyone talks about Ocarina of Time and how that was so pivotal in their lives, but man, Wind Waker was just so cool to me. It was so enjoyable. It was so different. It was like I loved the sailing on the open sea. It felt like any island could hold any secret. There was like little buried treasures inside the sea. So there was like it was cool. I really hope that they put out a HD remake of that for the Switch or Switch 2 whenever that comes out because I just don't have a Wii U and playing that again would be just a blast. I It's just one of my favorites. But anyway, getting back to Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, it was just a cool, unique take on the game. It played a lot differently than all of the other ones. For starters, you play as Zelda instead of Link, um, which was cool. She has this ability to, she has this thing called the Tri Staff, which you can mimic items like throughout the world you'll find these items like tables and chairs and beds and plants and rocks, pretty much anything in the game. You can even get enemies at certain points and like you can duplicate them using the staff, so you can get like a rock and duplicate it and then pick it up and throw it to fight enemies, or you can duplicate enemies to fight for you. But you have to find them throughout the world. The puzzle solving in it was really fun. It's a top-down 2D game, reminiscent of like Link to the Past and Link's Awakening. It actually is in the same art style as the Link's Awakening remake, which was really cool. Um, but just the playstyle of it was so different. It actually has a lot more in common with like the Breath of the Wild or the Tears of the Kingdom games on the Switch, because a lot of it is more like open puzzle solving. There's not always one way to solve a puzzle. You can use lots of your different inventory to kind of create different ways to solve things. Like there's water cubes that you can put down. There's beds that you can like jump on. There's birds that you can like spawn and like attach yourself to and then fly. Um, Really cool ways to like get through the world and just explore. I don't remember exactly if it was very linear. I remember having some freedom to kind of go where you want and do what you want, but I don't remember if like the dungeons themselves were in like a must proceed in this kind of order. If I'm not mistaken, I think it like starts with like three dungeons that you can do in any order, and then something happens, and then there's like another three dungeons or something like that. Kind of like how Link to the Past worked, and yeah. But that one was another one I beat. I really enjoyed that. Had a lot of fun with. Once again, just one of those other games that's kind of easy to play. Lots of exploring, um, fun storytelling, and just relaxing. The older I get, the more I just don't enjoy those try hard games where you have to like beat your head against the wall. I say that as I'm talking over this Nine Souls game. But this game is different. It's a lot of exploring. It is definitely difficult, uh, but there is something about the story and the art. Um, it's just so intriguing that like I can't stop playing it. I think this is going to be one of the games that I try my best to play all the way through. And as long as people are watching for whatever reason, I'll post all of them on here. Um, Hopefully, I don't have any other audio issues where I'm fighting that and have to do weird overlays of audio like this. Oh, and hopefully this isn't too distracting or whatever. But if it is, you can just put it on mute, put on some nice music in the background, and just kind of watch the gameplay because it's not terrible, and you get to see the game. I always like these kind of like let's plays because you get to see what a game is like before you spend money on it. A lot of times, I'll buy a game, play it, hate it. There's also times when I've like watched a ton of videos on it, so much so that I like see the whole playthrough and then decide, you know what, I got enough out of that game. I don't really want to go play it myself. Or sometimes that's the fun of it. Like, oh man, I like what they did in that game. Let me see if I can do it differently or better, or just see how it feels. So yeah. What other games did I play this year? Oh, one of the games I played recently that was a lot of fun was this game called UFO 50. That was another really interesting concept by a small group of developers. I believe it was being made. It took about 8 years to make the game, and these guys put so much work into this game. The concept of the game is: do you remember the old NES cartridges that would have like 50 games on them or 52 games on them? I think there was one called like Action 52, which is probably the most infamous, which had 52 games on them, and all of them were like kind of half-ass games, not really well thought out. And there's maybe like one or two full games on there. But the premise of it was there's a whole bunch of games on here, spend a whole bunch of money, and then waste your time trying to like enjoy what little bit you can out of them. Um, but this game, UFO 50, was really cool. It has 50 legit full games on it. All of them are created by, I want to say, a team of 8 people. And the concept of it is in the game, there is this group. I think it's called UFO Studios or something like that. And the 50 games kind of take you through the progress of them from the beginning of their time to the end of their time. And each game, when you click on it, has like a little blurb about its production, saying like, "Oh, this creator worked on this in their off time," or "Oh, these three creators, this is the first time they worked together." And reading all those blurbs kind of tells you the story of how like the company progressed and had its rise and had its fall. A lot of the games in there have some sequels. So there's like two or three games that have two or three sequels in there, and they're all so unique. I there's the first one that you play is like this explore a castle. There's minimal sound, minimal things you can do, but like you're just going through this castle and trying to avoid traps. It's a 2D side scroller, kind of like Metroid, where you can see like the little boxes of rooms that you went into, and you're just trying to explore it all and find your way out. There's other games in there that are arcade style games, ones where you have to like collect little blobs and like return them to these little star bases. There's a really fun point and click horror adventure in there, which is so unique. You didn't see too many of those on the on the NES, but that was really cool. There's this really cool Metroidvania where you are a robot that's going through. It's pretty much exactly like Metroid. You're going through this like space station, trying to gather these upgrades and find your way out. And but the hook of that game is like you can reverse gravity. So it's kind of like I think the game is called like VVVV, and you can like jump through and like you hit one of the trigger buttons and it'll like switch gravity. So you're like using that to get throughout the world. It's really cool, really unique. What other games are there in there? There's almost like an Animal Crossing style game where you have to like or that uses the in-game clock where your UFO crashes, you are sent to this area and you have to go out and explore, and you have this little time limit based on how much meat you have to survive in the wild, and every hit you take takes away some of your time, but you're sent out there to go out, explore, find coins, find different things to bring back to your base. And then when you're at your base, you can find helpers to upgrade different parts. You can build small buildings, and it uses the in-game clock. So as long as the game is on that you're playing, even if you're playing a different game in the UFO 50 world, um, that will be running, and you can build up resources in that time. It's really cool. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. That was one of the ones I beat. I think out of the 50 games, I've only beaten 5 of them, and I've only played like 42 of them. I think there's like 8 that I still haven't played. There's just so much diversity and so many unique styles. There's a really fun one that I just every time I boot up the game, I play it. I can't get super far in it, and it's so dumb. But it's this game where you play a little soccer player, and it's like in a puzzle game where you run around. You have to get your ball, and when you kick your ball, it ricochets off the wall, and you have to hit it into the enemies. Very simple concept, really cool. Um, and there's like I don't know, like 20 levels to it, but they get harder and harder, and you only have 3 lives, and it's just so fun. And you can like slide and headbutt the ball, but you can't touch any of the enemies. You have to kill them with the ball. It sounds a lot easier than it is, but it's really cool, interesting concept. There's another really cool concept in there where it's like a fantasy game where you're going through and it's kind of plays like a I don't know, like a top-down RPG, but the battles are all done out with discs that you like. You pick your army that are comprised of different sized discs. Like there's an ogre disc, which is really big and you can't really slide it very far, but it has like 5 hit points or something like that. And then there's smaller ones that are like rats that you can slide super far and they bounce a bunch, but they only have 2 hit points. and it kind of plays like shuffleboard or whatever. So you're sliding these big things around, or these discs around, trying to hit your enemies. And the more you hit your enemies, the more damage it does. It's just a really cool, unique concept. This game, UFO 50, has so many different games in it, and all of them are so unique. Another one that's one of everyone's favorite is called Mortal, and that concept of that game is you have 20 people, 20 lives. You can get more as the game goes out, and you have three actions that you can do besides like walking and jumping. One of them is you can turn to stone, which you can just stay as a block, and you use it to like break different spikes, or you can use it to push down on levers. You have another one which is like an arrow where you can shoot into walls and use the dead bodies as like platforms to jump up on. And the third one that you can use as an explosive, so you can blow up different bricks and stuff. And your goal is to use all of those to progress throughout the level by keeping as many men alive as possible. So every time you use one of those abilities, it kills one of your people. There's different ways to like get more people throughout. Like if you go to like different platforms and stuff, they'll be like, oh, add +5 to your people, to your party or whatever. But you want to end the level with as many people as possible. So you want to find the shortest path with killing the least amount of people. It's just a really cool concept, and everything about it is interesting. That was really fun. What other games are in there? There's just so many different games. There's like a couple different sports games where one's called like Bushido Ball, where it's almost like Pong, but you play as these like Bushido Blade warriors that have different abilities. And you can pick any of the 6 warriors, and then you have to kind of play tournament style through them and beat all the other ones. Um, but it's really cool. It pretty much plays like Pong. So there's a ball bouncing between you and your opponent, and you use your abilities and your sword to kind of bounce the ball back, and it's really cool. What other ones did I play a bunch of in that game? I don't know. I don't want to give them all away because it definitely think it's worth playing. I'm surprised that I haven't heard too many people talk about that game because that one is. I think that should have been up for Indie Game of the Year, but I didn't even see it get nominated anywhere, and it was just so unique and so much fun. Um, oh yeah, here we are picking our skills, trying to figure out what we're gonna do um, to progress this game. Uh, I think. What did I end up picking over here? I can't quite remember. But yeah, that's that. That was definitely another one that I would probably put that in my top 3 for games of the year. I would put that, Astrobot, and then the other one I didn't talk about was Metaphor ReFantazio. It is from the makers of it's Atlas Studios. It's the maker of the Persona games and the Shin Megami Tensei games. They had quite a year this year. They put out Persona 3 Reloaded, which was an awesome remake. I've heard nothing but good things about that. I haven't played it yet. They put out Shin Megan, Shin Megan. I can't even say that now. I just said it a second ago. My mind's blank. But they put out number 5 of that. That was an interesting remake, and heard great things about that. And then this was like their third pillar of games. So they have the SMT series, they have the Persona, and then they have this is what they want to put out as their third pillar, which is called Metaphor ReFantazio. It is so cool. The art style in it is awesome. If you like Persona, you will love this game. It's a little bit more fantasy based. It has a huge epic story. The concept of it is the emperor of this world has been killed, and it starts out with you see who kills him. It's not a surprise. He's killed. He ends up setting a, a trial for anyone in the world who can get enough followers, whoever has the most followers at the end of this competition is worthy of being the king. And it's just really cool concept. It's so fun. The battle in it's turn based, but it's very quick. It's not one of those slow, boring turn based games. It is action packed. In fact, a lot of the times you won't even have to go into the turn based game because in the open world part of it, if you are good enough or you're high enough level, which isn't super high, you don't have to be like 10 levels higher than the enemies, but if you're a high enough level, you can just go through and be swinging your sword or whatever and automatically kill the enemies, and you still get the experience and the loot that they would drop normally. Um, it's really cool too because they have all these archetypes, and any character that you play that's in your party can have any archetype once they're unlocked. And there's really cool combos that you can do with them. There's also benefits to sometimes having the same of like multiple versions of the same archetype in there. Like if you have two mages, they can buff each other and kind of give each other bigger spell damage when you do their combined spells. Um, there's so many unique things in that game. It does use the day system, which is, if you play the Persona games, is very similar to that. I think that if you're a fan of fantasy games or turn-based RPGs or any of that anime style art, I think you would really enjoy those. That is probably up there as my third game of the year. I would definitely say UFO 50, Astrobot, and Metaphor ReFantazio kind of took up the majority of my gaming time this year. And Metaphor ReFantazio is just a long game too. There's so many different side quests. All the characters are super likable or unlikable depending on like they do their jobs well. If you're in there with an antagonist um, that you're not supposed to like, you don't like them. If you're in there with anybody in your party, everybody has like a reason for being there. None of them are like one dimensional. They all have depth to their character. Um, it's just so much fun. Um, Everything about that game was a blast. The music is awesome. It's one of I only ever play like I play random songs, um, like soundtracks from random songs from different soundtracks, but there's only like one or two soundtracks that I have the entire thing of on my game, like on my Spotify playlist, and Persona 5 is up there, and now Metaphor is up there because it's just so unique and it's fun and it can get you like hyped up. A lot of the battle theme in that is so intense, and it has like this, I don't know what you'd call it, like throat singing guy, like lots of chanting and like it's really cool. It's different, and I hope that's a game that they follow up on. A lot of people liked it. I'm happy it did as well as it did because I was worried about it. I didn't think a lot of people would play it. It has a weird name. It's kind of a weird concept, but it's really fun, and I think a lot of people, once they gave it a chance, really enjoyed it. It ended up almost winning Game of the Year in a couple places. If I'm not mistaken, it might have won the IGN Game of the Year. I know Balatro won the one at the Game Awards. I did play that. That was another one I played a bunch of. Not much to say about that hasn't already been said. People love that. It's a poker card playing roguelike game where you just build your deck and try to beat different blinds. Like it's like a high score game, but man, it's addicting, and building up your deck and seeing all the different combinations of cards and trying new possibilities is so fun. I really enjoyed that. So, um, yeah, back to this gameplay. Yeah, I don't think there's much to say about it. It was super enjoyable playing it on this Nine Souls game and just having a blast with it. I felt Like this was one of my stronger playthroughs, and it sucks that I really lost the audio on that because I did really well in this. Um, and yeah, what other games did I play this year? A couple other ones. One that came out a couple years ago that I played was the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, which Stanley Parable is another really weird game. Lots of fun. It's pretty much just a walking simulator, which is narrated by this really interesting narrator, and he pretty much just tells you what to do or what not to do, but you can go with him or go against him, and there's so many different unique ways to play the game. There's not really much you can do. You just walk through it, and it's about this guy that works in an office building. And this came out, and at first people were thinking it was like a remake or just an upgraded version of it. And it was a lot more than that. There was a lot more to it. It's just one of those like very dry sense of humor games, and uh, I don't have much to say about it. It's one of those games that you need to like check out. If you watch the trailer for it, you see it, you'll know if you'll like it or not. It's not gonna. If it's not a game that you think you'd be interested in, then don't try it. But if it is, then I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It made me laugh. Not super long. There's a lot to do in it, but just lots of different creative ways to play the game and see different endings. Um, what other games did I play? We got through that. Um, I did play a good chunk of the Dragon Age Veilguard game. That was a lot of fun. I know a lot of people were hating on that because it was very different than the last one. Although a lot of people hated on the last one as well, Dragon Age Inquisition, because it was so different than Dragon Age Origins or Dragon Age 1. Like, I feel like a lot of people just like to complain about games to complain about games. Like, if it's not something that you're interested in, then don't get it. Like, there's enough people that do like let's plays or um, reviews on stuff that like if you're not interested in it, don't play it. Don't play it and say it wasted your time or you hated everything about it. Um, I saw so many people do that with this game, and it sucks because like yeah, it's a little bit different and um, it's not as like the decisions that you make in the game aren't as impactful or as open ended as they could have been in some of the other Dragon Age games. But like this is more of a storytelling game. If they BioWare wanted to tell you a story and you got to play through their story. There was a couple different major things that you could do in the game that kind of affect the gameplay, but overall, it's pretty much you just playing through this story. I understand that it is different than the way they've done it in the past, but sometimes you got to adapt. When you're trying different things, you got to see what sticks. Now, granted, I am not one to say that that always works because like I hated what they did with Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect is one of my favorite um, games, trilogies, let alone games in general. Mass Effect 2 is incredible. Um, but there's definitely ways that you can play through a game and just try to be open minded about it and not have just all that negative thing to say. If you're not enjoying it, don't spread the negativity. Just don't play it anymore or don't get it to begin with. There's lots of different ways to avoid playing a game. And I know it sucks when it's something that you're really passionate about and you really like it's a game franchise that has been with you for a long time or you have high hopes of, and then you see it come out and you want it to be good and it's not. But like, that's why you got to expand your horizons and try different stuff and like, don't stick to just one thing. Like, if you ever just stuck to one thing, sometimes you would never find the things that are your favorites. um, but yeah, overall, I really liked that game. The combat in it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. I played like a rogue style character that did mostly like arrows and dagger throwing. Um, the companions I thought were really interesting. I really thought they were had really interesting side stories, and you could go through and see them through and kind of follow up on that to learn about them and where they came from and their like tribes and stuff like that. There's a really cool old man necromancer, which is awesome. One of my favorites was this lady who was like a tinkerer inventor lady. She was really cool. She did magic, and she was the one I ended up romancing in the game. And that was just a lot of fun. Like lots of different, unique characters, and I don't know, man. Like I try to be an optimistic about stuff like that, but it was just a blast. Another game that I played that got some mixed love this year was Mario and Luigi Brothership. I've been a big fan of those games for a long time, and I really enjoyed this game. It starts off slow and it takes a lot of time to get into it, but it really opens up. The Mario and Luigi games, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they are like RPG esque style games. They tend to be a little bit more story driven than like your regular Mario games. They're more along the lines of like the Paper Mario games. These ones tend to be a little bit less funny. I tend to like the comedic writing and the Paper Mario games a lot more. But these are just like big, long, epic adventures where you're going through new worlds with unique characters and just exploring outside of the Mushroom Kingdom and trying to figure things out. This one in particular has a really cool ship system where you're like traveling to different islands and trying to connect the islands. It has like a really deep story about like loss and being alone and trying to connect with other people again. It is tends to be a little heavy-handed on that, but it's really cool, and it's one of those games that I hate when people say this, and I'm gonna say it now too. But like the longer you stick with it, the better it gets. You just got to give it time to grow on you. It doesn't start off super fast and super strong, but it definitely has a lasting impact. The further you get into the game, the story becomes more um, developed, and I really enjoyed like a lot of the ending stuff in it. It really ramps up around like the last like I don't know quarter of the game, uh, which sucks because like you don't want to invest that much time and then have it not pay off. But like it's it's nice to see that um, your time isn't wasted if you stick with it. I really enjoyed what I played of that. I still have to finish it, but it's it's there. It's getting really heavy, and I want to finish that up before the end of the year, which only gives me a couple days, but I have plenty of time. Um, so I think that's about it for all the games I played this year. I don't really have any other ones that I can think of off the top of my head, but I do want to keep talking through this game, so I have enough audio to finish this video out. Um, yeah, we got to find a couple of those tail fruits, which were really interesting. Still haven't found out how to use those yet, but it seems like they give you some skill points and stuff like that. I gotta figure out how to get those in, cause that would be awesome. I did see on one of the main menus somewhere that I had a certain amount of skill points out of like 54. So I think 54 is the most amount of skill points you can get. Um, that being said, I gotta do the math as well to see if like that allows you to get all of the skills in the game, or if there are gonna be some that I can't get, because then I have to pick and choose. I still think I'm pretty early on in the game, so I'm not sure how much more. I have to go, but uh, I'm definitely enjoying it and seeing all the different unique areas and seeing what we have over here. I think that this game is super cool, unique. The combat in it is so fun. I really like the parrying system. I need to get better at it because I am not very good at it. However, look at this guy and his cool little laying down pose. Um, I need to really like slow down. I tend to get more into that hack and slash mode, especially when there's like more than one enemy around. Cause I don't know, just the way I am. I get very twitchy fingered and excitable, so I don't have the time. Like I don't, not very good at like taking a breath and slowing it down and thinking it through. But that's definitely something I need to be able to do, especially if I'm gonna get further in this game, because I'm sure it's only gonna get harder. Um, I know that we've only beaten the first of the 9 big bosses, which I'm assuming there's 9 big bosses because they say there's 9 souls. Well, they say there's 10 souls in the game, but I believe you are the 10th one. And as from what you can tell by the story and everything, they kind of left you for dead. Um, I think that the story in this is super unique and interesting. I really like the revenge plot. I think the world is really interesting. It seems like it has to do with like alien invasions, like the souls. I believe their race is called the Solarians, and I believe the people of Earth, who they call ape men, are like they worship these Solarians, but as gods. But it seems like they're just aliens that have stopped here to maybe harvest resources from Earth. Um, at least that's the story I'm getting off of what I'm reading and stuff like that. I could be 100% wrong. Sometimes I'm not very good at interpreting things. Um, but I like how it takes these like um, technologically advanced races, like technology, just like and puts it with like this old world twist to it, where with like martial arts and Eastern Asian influences, and it's really cool. And it's one of those games I said before is a lot darker than I thought it was going to be. When I first saw like the previews for this, I was like, oh wow, what a cute little game where you play as this little cat thing. Um, and then it has a lot heavier tones and it's a lot more story in it than I was anticipating as well. Which is why, oh my goodness, I tend to read those text boxes and everything, and I get all mush mouth trying to read them because I don't know, I just have a hard time talking in general. I tend to mumble a lot, and I guess I'm trying to do these videos, and maybe that'll help with focusing and getting my speech better. But try not to mumble and be ridiculous. Another one of these big baddies over here. I think we go back to heal up before we go fight him, just so that we don't get completely destroyed. Yeah, and I still have those 2 skill points that I haven't used, mostly because I get like that decision paralysis. I never know what the right thing to do is until it's something I need. Like, oh wow, I realize, oh, I should probably be running a little bit. Maybe let me get a point in running. Or, oh wow, I need to be better with my key, and so I'd enhance that or whatever. But yeah, overall, just need to figure it out. Ooh, I got trashed over there. I still haven't gone back to see if you defeat the bigger robots like that, if they come back or if they're the kind of enemies that once you kill them, they're gone. Um, I know some of the ones that have names, like there was like certain guardians that we fought, like 1 or 2 of those that we beat, and they never come back. But these big burly guys. I'm sure that I'm gonna have to come back this way at some point, and I'll see if he's still here, because he is. It's also one of those things. I just need to pay more attention to patterns because they have very simple patterns and stuff. I lose my focus sometimes and can't remember. I love the backgrounds in this too. The games, everything just looks so cool. Like how the 2D art meshes with some of the 3D art backgrounds, and like the hand drawn clashes with like the more computer generated art. It's just everything about it is so cool. Just trying to figure out where I'm going again. I think this is the point where I realize, oh, I've been playing for a while. Let me just get back to a rest node, and then we'll call it a day. Um, and then when I try to do that, I always get distracted and keep going more than I think I'm going to. I said it before and I say it again. I really like that little mini hack game. It's super quick, fun, nice little quick time event. It's not very intrusive, but it's something to get you doing that way if you have like an obstacle like that laser beam, like you need to be fast or that laser is gonna shoot you, which gives you like, ugh, that sucked. Options of is it worth it to try to hack this or do I find a way around it? But yeah, I think we're starting to wrap up here. We're cycling back. I didn't realize that that elevator went down. I could have just used that to get up. Would have been a nice little shortcut. Instead, go up, go all the way back. I should just take my time and pay attention to. Oh wow, Mike, there's an elevator. Let's use that. Yep. Where do I go from here? I activate this and I go. I think I do I teleport back to the pavilion? I can't even remember. I just did this the other day. You would think I'd remember, but I don't. What was I doing? Why did I leave and then run back? Who knows? Maybe I was afraid I would die, but I should have just healed up if I thought I was gonna die. Oh yeah, this all circled right back. I was about to save, and then I see something like, oh, there's one more area I haven't been. Let me just go check that out, and then I go back and save. Um, because I can't ever just stop. I need to keep going, checking everything out. What was the deal with this? That's exactly where I had been before. It was underneath the pyramid. So yep, I had pretty much gone all the way around, and I was like, all right, we will check out some more stuff. think there's like a little. I am very glad that I got the killing from behind, how it does more damage if you attack from behind, because I use that more than anything. Alrighty. Yep. Hack that. I love how everything just kind of interconnects and you can get back to different places. I forgot that I had rested and was wondering why this guy was back. And I'm pretty sure if I'm not mistaken, he just rocked my world. Because I could have healed at any point. I don't know what I do half the time. So then I'm just like frustrated at this point. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back, go get my souls, and then we'll call it quits. And that's what I do. Um, but yeah, so this was a little bit different adventure, or a different style of talking, because I just lost the audio to this. So this is different. If you prefer me talking more about like personal things and my takes on other games and stuff, feel free to let me know. If you'd rather me just stick through the gameplay and talk about what's happening in game, that works as well. But I think that that's pretty much gonna wrap it up. I think we just get back to that save point and call it a day. So yeah, I enjoyed this. Thank you for watching and listening and taking time out of your day to watch my little videos. I appreciate it, and I will catch you later.